All right, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We're going to get after it today. We got about 45 minutes, 60 minutes of just awesome jam-packed content about the industry. I'm sitting here with some awesome people and yourselves at home. It's Thursday, December 28th. Time is flying, almost to the new year. Definitely.
Last show of the year, right, Q?
Oh, wow.
I do believe it's the last show of the year.
Technically is. Holy shit.
Next Monday, we are in 2024, folks. So.
Look, I had nothing planned for that, so we're going to act like that didn't just happen. I totally blanked on it being the last show of the year. Guys, I just got into a nice cold plunge. I tried an ice pod for the first time. I'm just throwing that out there, personal.
How was that?
I cannot feel the bottom half of my body.
Yeah.
But I feel energized. I feel jazzed.
It works. It does. I went through a phase of taking cold showers, and I loved it. I think that's like, it just makes you sharp.
Yeah. I wish I was a little bit sharper every day here. But anyways, okay, so I got Huda, I got Biggie Poppins, I am Nifty Q. We're all going to co-host NFT Live today. A lot to talk about. My dashboard's pretty much full, so we'll get to that in just a moment. Huda, how are you doing today, sir? Excited to be sitting with you again for the last episode of the week.
Bro, GMs, it's good to be here with you guys. I'm good. Jude, I said a couple days ago, my head's spinning. It's still spinning. Like, I have not found my footing here at all this week. I don't know what it is, but like the market's crazy. I can't figure out what's going on where and what to be looking at and what to be playing in. And I don't know, a couple things caught my eye just today, like a massive sale on Solana. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this Boogle, is it Boogle or Boggle? You heard of that?
No.
Let me drop you a link, because this NFT sold for over $250,000, and it's not a wash sale. It's a completely legitimate collection with real collectors. It's just a small collection, but biggest sale in the past 24 hours. Solana is just kind of growing right in front of us. Check that out.
That's an understatement right there. Love to see more Solana sales. We love the Solana homies. All right, Biggie Poppins, what's up, brother?
Oh man, not much, dude. I feel like I'm missing out. You know, like I've obviously had to I'm trying to keep up, but you know, traveling and crypto don't mix very well. So I have been just kind of watching and missing out on some stuff. But I've been having some fantastic mezcals, by the way, like that I have been enjoying.
So, I saw that cocktail last night.
Dude, rated third best cocktail bar in the world, this place over here. You know, if you're ever in Mexico City, Limontró, really, really fantastic cocktail. So one of the best daiquiris I've ever had in my life, along with a bunch of mezcals too. But it's really cool.
All right, folks, we're going to get off and running here on today's episode. We are not financial advisors, by the way. Do not take anything we say and use it to profit or use it to not make money, more likely. So we're not investment advisors. Do not use this as investment advice. Do your own research. All right, a lot to be touching on today. Yatsu coming in hot. What's going on here, Huda? Because Yatsu, I am in the school of Yatsu here. I am
so
his
great.
disciple.
Dude, I'm with you. I look up to this guy like crazy. It's like Gary Vee, but this guy at a whole other level. So I was doing some research this morning. I'm always looking for like new NFT news. And I saw this article from TechCrunch talking about, actually the title of the article is great, but the article was talking about how NFTs, it's not that they're not dead, but it's that they'll really never die because the communities will keep them alive. And it doesn't matter what the value of the NFT is. And I saw that, I'm like, holy shit, someone out there really gets it. We've been pummeled by these mainstream news, organizations, and then you got TechCrunch really coming in and explaining like what it actually is. The community is the value, and it's really that simple. Now, in that article, Yatsu weighed in and he explained a little more about that. The co-founder of the Tensor Marketplace also had a quote in there. It was an awesome article, and I was pumped this morning. By the way, my morning video Yatsu retweeted, which was so fucking cool. So yeah, I mean, it was awesome to see him and talking about a topic that I agree with him about and I'm passionate about. It's the community.
I agree with you, Huda. I don't remember. It was like a couple of years ago. I think this is like when people when the states invaded Afghanistan, right? Like after 9/11, and there was this great article talking about it's the tribe stupid. I don't know if you guys recall it. Phenomenal article, obviously in a different light, but also making the case of why tribes, communities are the backbone of any organization. And when it comes to crypto, I think it's no different. You know, it's really the lifeblood of it, and I'm here for it, man. There's some really good ones out there people should be paying attention to. And it's unfortunate, you know, like you said, sometimes it's the degens out there that drown out the logic of the space. But, you know, us that have been here in the space for a while now know better. And
I think
that's why we stick around.
That's a great take, Biggie. You know, in the pits of the bear market, like at the lowest of low, the question whether NFTs or PFPs were going to be a thing again came up, right? Like, and there was like an inkling in the back of your mind that said, you know what? I mean, we're so wrecked that maybe they're right, but barely, right? It's just like a flitter of a thought. And, you know, we were touching on the best project of the year, best creators of the year yesterday. And that's why I love what Luca Nets did in the bear market, is basically prove out the PFP concept, right? In the midst of a bear market, we're still not back. And you saw what getting the pudgies out into the world did for all of the holders and just the NFT scene in general. So that was another thing that I forgot to mention yesterday, man. But I think it's a great point. Like, those of us that have been here know that these things are cyclical. They always do come back around. It might look a little bit different, but I think Luca proving this out with PFPs set my mind at ease that, hey, PFPs are going to be a part of this next cycle.
Yeah. No doubt about that. I still look at them like trading cards. It's a new type of collectible, but it's so much more than that. It just represents the community. And you're right, they're never going to die, ever. And I always thought it was strange that people wrote off PFPs. They said they're never coming back. And I mean, my reaction to that instantly was to scoff. I mean, they're never going away.
All right, love it. Folk you, I get more degen. Nice.
Love that name, by the way.
Yeah, I just say it every time, and so I guess I'm the one that's rugged. Jax Hideaway saying Soul Energy seems to be boosting overall crypto and NFT morale. Who would have guessed it? Inside NFTs, Carrie Ross, morning to you, ma'am. Christian Jensen, GM, DP saying yo. Prado, we're not fully rugged, so we are here. You know how we like to do getting started on the NFT lives here today. We see everybody watching on X, watching on YouTube. You guys that are watching afterwards, pumping those numbers up over on YouTube, have been doing phenomenal. So if you're here, if you like the content that you're getting, please leave a like. It definitely helps us get the word out about what we're doing. Huda, thank you for starting us off on a nice note there. I did have another piece that I wanted to get into, which made some waves, which is that Pawns announced that the Plague NFT collection was essentially getting equity of the company. And I'm not in the Plague NFT ecosystem. The snapshots have already been taken, all this stuff. So I don't think most of us have got the alpha unless you are already in it. The question being, is this a fast track to jail right now? Like, honestly, was this a good decision? I think it's an interesting one, the fact that when everybody's kind of tiptoeing around how they launch a project, the Pawns came out and literally said the holders of this collection are getting equity.
Yeah, instantly a security, right? So I mean, by the time who actually regulates this? Is it the SEC or who is it?
That's a good question. The SEC, CFTC.
I mean, by the time they get to it, is it going to matter? I'm sure these guys are going to be long gone, and collectors will have made their bags and profits. And again, I don't think they have time to keep up with all of these NFT projects and all the shenanigans, good and bad. So it doesn't matter right now. But yeah, it does scream security to me.
Yeah. Do we know where the company is based out of?
I would love if anybody knows in chat where these guys are.
That would be a big factor, right? Like, but it's definitely a bold call, and then to put it out there on social media. So I would imagine, I would like to think that they're somewhere other than the United States.
Watch to see if OpenSea delists those quickly. I mean, because that's what they do.
Oh yeah. That's.
Here's one thing that I took away from this is like a good process for actually launching, maybe not equity. I think we're all in agreement up here that would be something that we wouldn't really get into, especially being in the US. But Biggie, this reminds me of the fair launch that Andre did, where he basically didn't say anything up front. It wasn't like farm this and then you'll get points, wink, wink. It was basically like they just launched the token all at once. And it was a free launch of just kind of everybody felt like it was an equitable distribution. instead of saying, hey, in a month we're going to be doing a token sale, hey, in a month we're going to be doing this, like it feels like this retroactive stuff, it has legs long term.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a nice little surprise, right, for holders as well. So I'm sure they're pretty happy. Jesus. So
not
many
a big
frogs
not a
and
fan.
turtles and fucking no, not really. But I mean, the obsessions that we have with certain animals, you know, I find it very funny.
All right, so I think we're all in agreement. Leave your comment there if you've got something that you think we would be talking about when it comes to the Plague Collection launching equity shares for their holders. That's one that wasn't on my bingo card at the end of the year here. VGF is here saying GM, so we might as well get to it. This was a big breaking announcement, probably the breakingest announcement. I just made up that word. Reboot is launching. Yes, I did it. GG token on 12/29. This is literally tomorrow, folks. So we get a Reboot token here by the end of tomorrow. Excited to finally see this token out in the wild. This announcement came earlier this. It looks like summer. So August 7th was the official announcement about the token. So we're officially getting GG here tomorrow. Thoughts here, guys?
Dude, the partnership or having it listed on ByteBit is huge. I think we also got a release date for the Battle Plan game, right?
Yes.
That happened too. So yeah, a lot of good things coming for that Pixel Vault ecosystem. And most of us are probably holders there, and most of us have been probably anticipating this and waiting for it for a while. I'm personally very, very excited to see that ecosystem come back to life. And you felt it coming back to life here over the past couple months as people like beta tested that game. The feedback was pretty damn good about it. So really, really excited for this year.
All right, and here's that announcement that you were mentioning. Pixel Vault Send It Battle Plans launching on January the 9th. So here's a question. Like, I know that I believe they had a sale within that time frame, right? They announced the token launch here in August. That's light years ago. They had a sale for the Reboot GG, but other than that, how are we getting exposed here to that ecosystem now that it's essentially, set for launch?
Well, that's a good question. I don't recall there being a sale. I didn't know that actually happened. So the only way I knew to get it was through the assets you own right now. Like you'll convert your planets to GG. And I think there's certain assets in that ecosystem that are to give you multipliers. So like those dots, I think give you multipliers. But if there was more to it, if there was a sale, and if there's other ways, I'm not aware of them. I wasn't aware of them. I'd love to hear about that. Also, I dropped you in our private chat here like a calculator, so you can see people's vesting schedule, I guess, and it's pretty good looking.
All right, yeah, drop that link in the private chat. I didn't see it come through, actually. Maybe it's bugged.
Oh, I'm dumb. I didn't send it.
Okay, so VGF said no GG sale.
Yeah.
Okay. That helps.
GG, the native token of Reboot GG. So they did a private sale, essentially. I think that's where my mind is going. I believe they did that for individuals. Is launching soon, and currently the only way to acquire it is by owning certain Pixel Vault assets and substituting them for GG upon launch. At a high level, there are 5 options with varying trade-offs. Okay, so this is the alpha here. This is the alpha here. Buy power punks, buy planet NFTs and substitute for GG. Mint or upgrade dots.
So if I have like one of those punks comics, like that should give me some exposure.
I think it does. When I loaded up the tool connector, put in my wallet address, I think there was like an allocation for the Punks comic. Again, maybe it was counting my Punks tokens, and it might be that you swap the Punks tokens for GG. But yeah, it's interesting because they've always had a complicated ecosystem. There's a little, it's a little complicated even here, but I think once you make the transition to GG, it's as simple as it could ever get.
Right on.
All right, that's it. Go ahead, Biggie.
No, man, I have nothing to add to this conversation at all, dude. I am so fucking lost. Like, I know it's one of those things that's been on the periphery. I've heard you guys talk about it. I do have one punk comic book. Hopefully that yields something, but I'm another W for the gaming ecosystem. It's one of those things that, like, now that we're getting into the bull run, it was such an obvious thing in hindsight, but obviously with everything, right, you're always like, man, I should have gotten more exposure to this sector. I should have done more here. And yeah, with the gaming sector, personally, I mean, I have some exposure. I'm not crying here, but at the same time, it's like, damn, dude,
you're on the
like,
strap train
the
with
chickens
us.
are coming home to roost.
They really are. I'm glad Huda gave me his address, because if I typed in mine, I would have zero exposure. Let's see what's going on here.
And by the way, fuck you. If you're meaning like that's a lot of gas is in actual gas to kind of exchange.
Cool, yeah.
This is on Arbitrum, so it should be very low gas, like very, very cheap.
Okay, so I don't know if I would classify him as a whale here, because I don't know the ecosystem, but you got a nice little token vesting schedule here for yourself, sir.
So my brother Henry the Grape. So he and I we share this collection. We've got at least one of every asset in that ecosystem. So yeah, we're pretty well covered. I wish I had more, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about this.
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about this other thing too briefly and end off with it, because we talk about the tokens a lot, and we obviously that's part of Web3, but like the game Battle Plan launching on January the 9th is really cool too. We saw some streamers, I think Bryson was giving us a sneak peek on gameplay and things like this, but Battle Plan launching should be a really big focus of everything we're talking about with this as well. VGF saying the problem with trying to simplify the complicated equitably is that it's complicated to get there, but easy once everything's in GG. I love that discussion. Like, that's a rabbit hole discussion, because projects like, I think we always throw Gutter Cat Gang under the bus for this, but like, how do they get to the point where it's simple, right? There's a lot of holders in there that might feel a little bit like they're getting taken advantage of, or it's not being equitable to VGF's vocabulary there. That's a great discussion, and I'm glad they're attempting it, because then we at least get to see maybe a model of when projects get a little bit too complicated. All right, I'm going to move us on into the next piece, guys. Dashboard is pretty much full. One of the main conversations around, actually, let's hit the APE Staking Thread really quick. We haven't been able to talk much about Yuga here, unfortunately. I'm sure that Marty is happy about that, but obviously I'm an ape myself. I'm in the BAYC ecosystem, and really they haven't taken part in a lot of the price run-ups. Like BAYC, I think, is at like 25 ETH still, 26.
But do you think is this because they're not ready? They got caught with their pants down? I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. I think this is by design. I would not be surprised early next year they come up with some crazy unveiling or something. A company such as this, I think, is not one to miss out on these things unless they're intentional about it, right? And I think it's also good. Like they're letting the rest of the ecosystem have their time, their moment, and I don't know. I just don't buy it that it's just kind of like some mishap, some miss.
Yeah, I agree with you, Biggie, but I also don't think like they're letting the ecosystem have they're like, oh, just let them have a good time. Like, I'm sure they'd rather have their assets at least 2-3x along with the rest of the market in this time.
I agree. But
Biggie, I think you're on. I think they're going to have a big something because they've got all these pieces set up. They've got the new marketplace coming, and now they have those Your Stash wrappers, which they've said have I guess a unique utility to them. They're going to do something. What that is, who the hell knows? But I think they're going to do something really, really splashy here in the spring, or probably like in the winter here. So I wish I had Yuga assets, man.
Yeah, look, they're in a really interesting spot because they are kind of the darling of last cycle, and whether they're going to participate in any meaningful matter, I would lean towards you, Biggie. But there's always an option. If you're sitting heavy in Yuga assets, there is a scenario where they don't take part, that there are some behemoth company that doesn't. You saw the moves they've kind of made in late fall or early fall. They weren't that good. Heavy Metal was pretty bad. Legends of the Mara hasn't been that bad. So there's a non-zero chance that it could end up poorly. I think you're right on with maybe guessing that it's not that it's actually going to do okay. But there's a lot of factors with BAYC, man. I've been obviously tossing back and forth, being heavily exposed in that ecosystem. So real quick, this is the point that I was trying to bring into the conversation here, is along those lines of BAYC taking part and what they should be doing. David Choi had a great breakdown around APE staking, because APE token or APE coin is part of the conversation within the ecosystem, and it's part of the combo of not having participated in any run-ups. I mean, all of us here, I think, have at least bought some tokens along the shrapnel lines. Ron is doing extremely well. A lot of tokens are doing well in the GameFi ecosystem. ApeCoin should be in that conversation. It is going to be part of one of the bigger games in Web3, other side. It's already been used in Dookie Dash. There are these concepts to be thrown around saying ApeCoin is a gaming token and so much more. And I think what David is arguing here is that it is, when I say so much more, it's too complicated. And it's now kind of taken on both BAYC and ApeCoin together are collectively holding each other back. As well as the staking implementation that is continuously leaking out tokens. All of these kind of factors plus more are leading ApeCoin to not be doing well. And he also made the argument that BAYC is not doing well because it's viewed more on the utility side with these staking mechanics than the Veblen goods of saying this is a luxury item. So I know that's a mouthful. We can kind of break that down. And his thread is very long, but guys, give me your take here and let me know what your thoughts are.
No expert on Ape, but I think what you said is correct, and it applies to Yuga too, right? It's such an ambitious project that, of course, it's going to be complex and hard to wrap your head around for most people, and it's also going to be slow to sometimes maybe capitalize on certain things, right? And if you're comparing this and want to label it purely as a gaming token, then you're going to be hard pressed to, when comparing it to other gaming tokens, to want to select it, right? Because of its complexity. But I don't know. I think they're trying to encompass a lot more. I personally, when you mention Ape token, I do not think about it as a gaming token. And I'm not a Yuga holder whatsoever. But when I hear Ape token, I'm like, okay, this is like something that they're trying to make like a metaverse currency. You can buy luxury items, you can do experiences, you can vote in the DAO, you can use it for gaming as well. And so yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than say something like Shrapnel or Parallel, right? Where you just know it's clear, it's simple, and it's got like one general purpose. But that's what happens when you bet on like very ambitious projects, Q. I think like they take time to cook.
Huda, I want you to jump in here. I will say, Biggie, what they did with the Yuga Labs gaming was interesting, right? Because they essentially took the social media or the brands and kind of separated them, because people were getting in kind of what David is arguing here is that people were getting confused. They're like, why is there so much heavy metal stuff coming through the Bored Ape Yacht Club profile? So it's all this complexity that they're trying to work out. Huda, your thoughts here, and we can keep kind of going through his thread.
Well, so my thoughts. First off, I don't know what the solution is, but I'm gonna call out fuck you's comment again. I'm looking for an excuse to say it, I guess. But crypto's always moving so fast; they want the new shit. That's partially Ape's problem. It's not the new shiny thing. At this point, it's harder to get any kind of return on something that you do understand the ecosystem. And at this point, you can kind of figure out what the ceiling of it is, at least in the short term. So people's attention is all on shit coins and whatever else that they can really get those massive gains on. And Ape suffers for that. It's just been around the block at this point for a while. It's just not the hot coin at the moment. Man, I think it'll be back. But is your thought here, Q, to like separate Ape and have its own, I guess, X account, and that's where communications happen on?
So that actually does happen now. So ApeCoin has its own ecosystem and DAO and profile. All of this is separate. I think the issue is Biggie Poppins was just mentioning he doesn't view ApeCoin as being kind of its own thing, right? Or at least a gaming token, which a lot of people are hoping it actually becomes. So it does have all of these different profiles. It is separate in that sense. But I think to people's minds, they can't separate what it is other than you're getting it from staking BAYCs. Sure.
That makes a lot of sense. My gut tells me it's going to have a big part to do with that new marketplace. That would just make a lot of sense. And then at that point, I picture you can buy just about any NFT on that marketplace with ApeCoin, which I think makes it a little more interesting for it. So yeah, we'll see. I have a lot of faith in that team, and I used to not, but they've just won me over time. Just they get Web3 at the core. Their soul. They really do understand it. And with Yatsu being, I think, involved enough, right? I feel presence in that project. And yeah, again, I feel very confident that they're going to steer the ship into very good waters.
Yeah, a lot of great comments coming through that I want to get to as well. But Huda, to what you just said, that's the thing that keeps me the most bullish on Ape. Is it does have, and David mentions it in his thread. He's like, this token should be 5x for where it is, just based on the amount of people that talk about it. It's a part of the zeitgeist of the NFT market, more so than a lot of tokens in the top 100, right? And he wrote this thread based on Ape falling out of the top 100. I could go through a lot of those tokens, and there's a ton I could probably point to and look at and say, ApeCoin has a way bigger ecosystem. They have a way more people talking about it. There's a whole list of things. One thing he mentioned there, and I do want to get to these comments. One thing he did mention there was a solution was stopping the staking. So stop staking, put all of the staking that was going to accrue over the next 2 years. He wants it all at once.
Unlock it all at once?
Unlock it all at once.
Ooh.
Burn the supply by 30% to offset that.
Okay.
To burn the total supply by 30% to offset, and then move forward and say, look, ApeCoin does not have any staking that's coming in. There's no like distribution going to VCs or anything like that. We are where we are, and let's just view ApeCoin as is. And also, let's view BAYC as is and stop thinking about it as this like thing that yields tokens.
I like that a lot. I think that's a clever idea. I mean, that's something that could work.
The example being a Tractor Company, also that does mobile games. It's a 3x multiplier. If you break it out, I guess, and you think about it in investment terms, you have the mobile company that you can value a little bit higher, and then also the Tractor Company. But within each, if you keep it inside each other, they're kind of viewed at a different rate. So I know I'm getting in the weeds here. I do want to get to these comments, and then we can head out of this combo at least. Biggie, any last thoughts?
Confusing as shit. I don't know. I don't know if revamping these tokenomics, to me, like, I don't want to say makes sense, but I understand their purpose, which is pump now.
Yeah,
we need pump, right? And then on the other hand, it's like, well, what was the original vision? I think it's a lot more ambitious. It's a lot more long term, and you're going to be sacrificing one for the other. Take your pick. You want to, like, in my opinion, everybody, like you said, is just looking to see their shit go up, and that's valid and that's fair, and that's a good big part of why we are here. But sometimes I think it's important, like, to remind yourself, especially when it's like companies like Yuga that are very ambitious. I'm personally going through fucking hell right now with Proof, right? But again, very ambitious projects, very long-term thinking. You might not get the pump that you want this cycle even, and you have to be okay with that if you really believe in the project and in what we're building and all that stuff. And I feel like when I see these posts and it's like, well, what if we, burn the supply over here and do this and do that? It's like, great. Okay. You're going to get a short remedial fucking
I agree
for what you really want.
I agree with what you're saying, Biggie, but I think he's using the burn of the supply as a tool to get where he's trying to take ApeCoin, which is separate it. Like, there's no really way to separate it right now without pulling off that Band-Aid and saying, we have to stop this. But we don't want, and you saw Huda's reaction when I said we're going to stop staking or we're going to distribute it all at once. He was like, "What?" So I think that was like his kind of example. Look, he explains it way better than me, right? And I'll hop out of here and Squash. I've been putting off your comment for too long. So right before I read off David's last comment, Squash is saying, agreed. People still associate Ape with Yuga when only effect Yuga has on Ape is optics, and Ape integration in merch drops, gaming, Dookie Dash was the only one legitimate decent sync. A lot of people still think you need a Yuga asset to be an ApeCoin DAO rather than just owning one Ape coin, but still need to work out the DAO mechanics. Quantum's asking, do you think they do the same token they did for punks with apes? I'm also confused about what he's asking.
I think he's talking about that new contract. I think the wrapper, so that Punk 721. Then we talked about that a few days ago. And if that's what he is talking about, then yes, I think all the Yuga assets are getting a wrapper. Then they get some functionality in this Your Stash ecosystem they're building. I do think that's happening.
Okay. Here's the fast and hard metaphor here, Biggie, that hopefully will hit home. He says, say you want to buy a good apple, but for some reason you have to also buy a pear, but you don't want a pear. You just want the apple. Well, too bad. Go to that other sketchier store and buy a shittier apple, or buy this pear too. And that's essentially what he's trying to do, is just separate the two right now, because they're too intrinsically linked and they're dragging each other down. That's it. That's the theory. So I hope that was at least simple enough.
So a packaging rebrand.
Yes, in unpackaging a separation, and yes, a rebrand for both, essentially.
Can I make a final point too, or like 2 quick points on ApeCoin?
Yeah.
One is, okay, the price of Ape right now, and we're talking about how these other coins are just going ballistic, tells me those other coins are overpriced, right? The other one is, we've learned over the past few years that the time to be probably accumulating is when the narrative is like it is now in that ApeCoin world, right? When it's at its low and people are very negative about it, you kind of, that is the time to buy, not financial advice, no speckle. So,
you know what? I've had a hard time suggesting people buy ApeCoin. I think Gifted was here like 3 weeks ago being like, hey, I bought a bag of ApeCoin. And I was like, oh, I don't know, man. Unless you're staking it, I don't know. And to look, that kind of wraps a real good bow here, because if we do stop the staking in Huda, we are at the bottom when it comes to this sentiment. Like maybe 3 or 4 months back, the bottom was probably in on Ape. From both a price standpoint, I think it hit like 99 cents. And also we had dealt with that special counsel process where they were literally netting 20K a month doing God knows what.
Crazy.
So yeah, I think you're onto something here, Huda. If we can somehow remove this staking element, I don't know how. Again, it's a tough process to VGF was talking about earlier. If you move into something new, some people get burned, and you got to offset that. But if we can remove this staking element, Huda, I think I would start being like, Ape is a good buy.
Yep.
In NFA, Ape is a good buy. So,
yep.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, I just said I dig it. That was it.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, and I know Crypto Slam talks a lot about this. The thumbnail on today's episode was about different blockchains. Obviously, that's still the narrative and will continue to be so for the foreseeable future. I've got some stats to back that up here as we see inflows to these different chains. Carrie, I'm sorry I didn't get to your question either. Will setting up an ape chain help anything? I think that is part of the narrative. If it can separate itself and then create its own kind of ecosystem via that chain, I think that's a benefit for sure. 7-day net flows across blockchain platforms here, folks. You can see deposits and mainly, as you can see, the only chain that's really lost anything significant is Ethereum.
Wow.
215 mil leaving Ethereum. I don't know if that's going to Blast. It's clearly going to other chains. Arbitrum being the biggest winner. 7-day net inflow 73 mil. Optimism, BNB. I feel like they didn't even get base in here. Come on, I got to give some love here. But Optimism, BNB, and Phantom here, guys. Any thoughts on this chart or just the current narrative?
I'd love to see Solana in that mix too, which we know is up big as far as, kind of net inflow. But yeah, I mean, again, because I'm always looking at the NFT space with that cross-chain perspective, like just so not surprised about this. To me, this type of action, this type of movement away from Ethereum was inevitable. It was always going to come. It's just interesting to see it's finally here. And I don't think it's a phase, right? It's not a fad. I think this is just the beginning of what the future of NFTs look like. And in a big way, it's a cross-chain future.
And Quantum Variant saying, put some respect on ETH's name. He's saying, don't forget all those layer 2s are still Ethereum. People forget that, man. Yep. People are really, it's just going under the radar that they're all EVM.
Right.
Biggie popping. Oh, all glitch on the screen. I see that too. That might be there for a half second longer. Biggie, thoughts on what Huda just got into and what we see from the inflows to these other chains?
I think what he said is spot on. It was inevitable. It was the intention all along. And if you are not a chain maxi, you better get used to seeing capital flow from one place to another. Think of these things as like a highway and different ecosystems, and you're going to see capital flow in and now and out more regularly. What I find very interesting, and it's just like, I guess, the slant and the language. used whenever like people like to do this. And again, that's I think more like people trying to bait the algo on social media, right? Which is like, oh, the capital's leaving, never to come back again. Like, you know, we're being drained as we speak. The fuck? No, it's just going somewhere else where there's more action at the moment. It'll come back, it'll go to other places. And like Quantum said, the majority of these are EVM. Ethereum is the common tongue in this space. And so yeah, it's very interesting. It's cool. It's cool to see, and it was inevitable, you know.
So Quantum Variant's here, and we're giving him his flowers for some of these comments. Also, we talked about zkswap Finance yesterday, which is one of the dexes over there on ZKSync era, which I've been getting into. So I'm officially exposed over there on ZKSync. Excited to dive more into that ecosystem. But yeah, big shout out to QV there. This was a pretty cool chart that I was looking at, Biggie. You were mentioning DeFi Llama, and I've visited it a couple times here and there throughout the months. But this was a really cool, a chart comparison here as we kind of go through, and we can zoom into maybe something more recent, right? But what are some of the chains that you guys find yourself on within the last month, or are interested in, I guess, up to this point?
I'll jump in there if you don't mind, because I do have to say goodbye, folks, in spite of the fact that it's the last show of the year, but we'll be here next week. I'm obviously a big Stacks fan. That's for Ethereum layer 2. On the EVM side, I think Phantom people are sleeping on. I think their Sonic release this Q1 is going to blow people's minds. Super fast chain, I mean, if you're talking about performance, I think it's right there with Solana. Obviously, like the other L2s, Arbitrum, Optimism, some of the ZKs, ZK Scroll is one I'm very bullish on. And then from the old school, I would say Near. I really like Near and their Aurora chain. I think they're gonna perform very well. And yeah, that's kind of it. We can talk a little more about it next time, but yeah, I do have to jump. I have a lunch with the fam, but it's been awesome hanging out with you all, and I hope you guys have a phenomenal New Year's, and we'll see you Monday.
Biggie, I don't know if you got any episodes in as a co-host on NFT Live in 2022, but you've been a phenomenal impact to the show in 23 and just the community. So yeah, big flowers. Wish we had planned something better out. I didn't know it was the last episode of the year here, but I appreciate you so much. It's been a wonderful year with you here on NFT Live, man.
Thank you, brother. I've enjoyed it tremendously, and getting to know all of you guys, and obviously our awesome community. That's really what I enjoy the most. But and I also like that it's kind of like no frills, because you can't. No other day is special, right? We'll be here. Sorry,
I agree with that.
We'll be here on Monday, and it's just another day. I just gotta keep humming. So happy New Year's, everybody, and we love you guys. Peace out.
Happy New Year, Biggie. You're a legend, man.
Thank you, brother. See you soon. Bye.
Oh,
and then there was two.
Yeah, almost got you.
Just
dude.
One for a second there.
Yeah, of course, everyone's giving some flowers to Biggie Poppins here. Quantum, Carrie Ross, I see ya. Guys, we are going to continue with the episode without one of our fearless co-hosts. So I did have DeFi Llama up there. You could see the TVL. You could even zoom into maybe the last, I would say, let's say 3 months, right? So we're in October here. I don't know if it's not tracking, or it feels like maybe Near and Stacks are just maybe doing not, and even Phantom are being dwarfed here by Arbitrum and Optimism. Any thoughts on these chains and where you're playing and spending your time here, Huda?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as adventurous right now as I want to be, and I really, really want to be. I just, it's that whole thing of being unplugged and then playing catch up. I've not found myself outside of like the main chains. So I've been spending my time right now on Bitcoin, a little bit on Solana, I guess a little bit on Arbitrum now, thanks to those, XRC 20s. I bought some NFTs over on Base, and that's kind of my small little circle. But I need to get
the
more
Oviators.
Say again?
Did you get into the Oviators? Is that what the NFT you got into?
Exactly that. Yes. Yep.
That's gonna turn out well, man. What was the mint price for those, by the way? I was trying to figure that out.
Well, they were like 0.11 or 0.12. And so they're right around mint price on secondary now. There's a collection over there, and I can't speak too much on it because I don't know a ton, but they're called Glass Punks, and it is from an artist from OPEP. You've heard of them. Okay. I hear from all the right people that they think those are going to be huge. So I grabbed a few of those because I agree, mainly because I look at that guy's Twitters, like his timeline, and he's not huge as far as followers. That guy gets serious interaction, and that's something I'm looking for on, certain people or NFTs. He's going to be a dude.
Yeah, Base is very interesting to me. And I've brought it up on the channel. It's definitely one that I don't want to be too early on, Huda. Like, I don't want to be the guy that's like pounding the table and putting all my capital here when there's not going to be anyone here for another 4 months, maybe. That's the biggest thing with Base for me. I think you're playing it right. Oviators, Glass Punks, Toshis will probably do well. These are all some of the first NFTs over there on Base. I just don't want to be too early. That's my biggest thing with Base right now. I'm getting involved in that ecosystem. There's been Memecoins launching there. It's just, to me, I think you're hitting on it right there. Oviator's already at like 0.17, I think, the last time I checked.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah, I mean, it's cool that there are a few, grails over there for it being this early. There's some that are very obvious plays if you believe that ecosystem is going to be big, and man, I think most people do. So I do see opportunities over there. I don't mind waiting those 4 months again because I'm playing at such a slow pace. So that you saying that makes me even more bullish that you see it, months out. Again, my pace, my speed, I might go a little harder in there.
There's been some really good, I don't want to go on like a Base shill fest here, but there's been some really cool announcements coming out about TVL and the amount of volume that's moving over there, and the percentage increase has been wild, even compared to something like Optimism. I mean, let me jump into Dex Tools real quick, guys. What I've been seeing, where I'm spending a lot of my time, it is a meme coin season for sure. I think there's some really interesting ones that I've already brought up. Aerodrome, I think the ticker is AERO, and that is the biggest DEX, at least the biggest native DEX. Obviously, Uniswap supports Base and things like that, but if you're looking for a native DEX, Aero is definitely my biggest. So those infrastructure plays, Huda, is what I'm looking at. That's why I jumped on the Quantum's message about zkswap Finance. If you can be one of the larger kind of dexes there and provide some infrastructure, that's good. So Avalanche has, I think, Trader Joe's is definitely one that I'm interested in. That's the biggest native dex on Avalanche. All right, so Toshi, biggest meme coin. They've had a pullback from when I bought it, at least. So if you bought now, you would be getting in before me. Mochi, I'm not big on derivative tokens. Like Mochi is like the golden cat to the blue Toshi. So not really big into that, nor am I big into the apparently there's a female version of the meme coins. This is a community that I've been getting involved in here. The official community name is Base God. It's basically a meme on Brian Armstrong. It's been super volatile. If I zoom out, you can see it's gone all the way up. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, it's gone up almost 8x. Usually these meme coin charts look a lot like this, by the way, so don't get freaked out if you're like, what the heck's going on? Let me make sure I reset this. All right. I'm having some issues here with the chart. Anyways, yeah, it's pulled back. You would be getting in around my entry here if you were there. But a lot of times I'm going into the Telegram communities trying to figure out what's legit. When are people just saying, "Oh, send it," which is a part of being in a meme coin Telegram. Don't get me wrong. But if there's some actual conversations going on in there, I'm interested. I've met some cool people there. So yeah, Base God is a meme coin that I think will do well.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah, good shout out. Again, I got to spend more time, doing exactly what you're doing, getting those Telegram groups and like getting some skin in the game. I'm a little scared after my experience on Solana earlier in the week. Like, or maybe that was last week, but man,
what was it? What happened? What happened?
I can't say the word. You told me last time I couldn't say the word.
Which
it's a coin named Boner. I can't say that here, even though I just did. But yeah, got absolutely wrecked. That's the first time I really aped into like a meme coin, and just wrecked overnight. So I'm a little scared to do it again, but I know I have to. Got to do it.
So here's one that I'm looking at as well. I could pull up a little bit of my favorite list. Again, I'm kind of doing the meme coin or just like token kind of look at alpha play here on the channel today, but hopefully you guys can be okay with that. Here's one that I'm looking at, and I'm not going to say this either, but I'll just say it like Kakinu. Okay, so that you can see the token ticker COQ.
Oh, dude, that took me a second, but I get it. I get it.
Yeah, so this token is interesting, Huda. I don't know if you're on Avalanche yet, but this is definitely one of the larger, if not the largest. So there's a couple. I'm blanking on the main meme coin over there, but you could honestly say that this is the main meme coin. I think Bear was trying to be that for a little while, but yeah, this token has fallen off a cliff, but it really has a strong sentiment, strong community. And it's just the play of if Avalanche continues to take off, what is the strongest meme coin? And you're certainly not buying it at 0.04 anymore. It's again gone down considerably. So this is one I'm actually going to be purchasing today.
Interesting. Yeah, funny, dude. I'm gonna go back after I'm rewatching this video to make notes because it's like I again need skin in the game, and I think you're making some pretty solid calls here. They're not calls, right? You're just sharing some interesting info that I'm gonna write down and maybe do something about.
Yeah, of course. Last ones that I've been getting into here, man. One has been on Optimism as well. So the Optimism train has been interesting because there's not much going on over there, a la maybe Base. It's not like the Solana play or anything like that, but Tux is another community, maybe not as, how can I say this? They're a little bit more shilly than maybe a Base God or some of these other communities, but this is one meme coin I've been riding over there on Optimism. So again, just getting my hands in a bunch of these different meme coins. It's been fun, man. We'll see what happens. It could all go to zero tomorrow, I guess.
Dude, it totally could. I just kind of can't wait for it to come back over to ETH, but I know Solana is going to pop off to a whole other level here soon. I'm looking for the comment here. Somebody asked a question about Solana. I think it was Quantum. Yeah, a lot of meme coins are on Sol now. And do you think that's why they're so hot? That big part of it. And I think that's just going to get even bigger. The Tensor Marketplace has an airdrop coming up. They said in season 3. We don't know any details about how much and exactly when. But also, isn't there an exchange? I think Jupiter. My Sol buddies had mentioned, I think it was Jupiter, have a big airdrop coming that people I think have been farming. Again, I don't play in the ecosystem enough, so I don't know. But the sentiment is there's going to be a fuck ton of liquidity in that ecosystem. I even saw Beanie tweet, I think, too. So, yes, that's why it's doing so well now partially. And expect that to continue in a big way, I think, early next year.
So Jupiter, I know, was Jupiter's a DEX, I believe. And it was one of the primary, one of the primary winners from that Jito airdrop. The Jito drop happened. Everyone was like, I need to get there. And I know Jupiter was one that everybody was kind of jumping into based on getting into some airdrops.
That's it.
Dude, I'll tell you, man. Quantum saying meme coins on Sol. Do you think that's why it's so hot? Yes. Huda, you were just mentioning about meme coins going over to Ethereum. This is one token that I've been getting into recently, and we've had Mark on the channel. So this is part of the Megapont ecosystem. I don't know if you were there for those interviews, Huda, but Mark and team have been absolutely phenomenal. Like far and away, when you're thinking about a meme coin, you're just hoping the team isn't a full rug, right? But these guys are fully doxed. The token launched a very long time ago, but it has recently picked up in like the last week. So I'll tell you though, Huda, my experience buying meme coins on the ETH, actually, I'm spending like $40 on gas.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little too hard to trade, right? I wonder if the inscription craze will take off and help. I don't know how exactly it would, because you're still paying gas, right? Yeah, I guess that wouldn't help at all. And I did, by the way, see inscription bundles of coins. Like I did see them on our leaderboard earlier in this week. They were called like INS 20s or something silly. Yeah, I guess Ethereum's not that practical for it. It really isn't.
It's just especially when you're not buying like $1,000. Although it obviously like gas scales with the amount of purchase. If you purchase a 10 grand worth of a token, you're going to pay a little bit more in gas than if you pay, $10. But for that,
you really, dude? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think you are. I think it scales.
I never realized that. It's something I've always wondered, but I never thought that it actually worked that way. That's wild.
I think it's like a percentage or something of the send, because there's no way. And here, I guess I'll just be open and transparent. Like I bought, I think $1,000 or maybe $1,500 because I believe in the Megapont guys and and what they can do for a meme coin. It's not going to like die tomorrow. So I felt a little bit less risk there. I think I put like $1,500. I paid $30. There's no way that if I spent $10 at that time, that it was going to charge me 3 times my purchase.
There's definitely a way. There's definitely a way. Because I don't put big money into these coins, and when I do, I'm paying ridiculous gas too. So
I'm going on record here. I want to do this live here.
You're gonna make a $10 trade here?
Yes, I want to see what I would get.
By the way, Megapont, that's from like Megapunks, right, on Bitcoin, and they have a couple other collections.
Yes, yeah, we're hoping that we had them on when they launched Mega Pixies. So they're gonna do this interesting bridge play here, where they're going to, the Pixie token that I just showed you is going to be the transaction or the asset that you're going to spend to bridge assets from Ethereum to Bitcoin.
Okay. And
they're going to use that first as a test, and then they're going to actually have their bridge, and that's going to be their product.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I was looking at getting a Megapunk, so I was looking into them in their Discord. I'm like, oh, they are legit.
All right, I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna try this out here, Huda.
Dude, I'm anxious to see. I mean, I think you're gonna be paying an astronomical number still. By the way, I see Marty. He's talking about the Beeple FUD, and I only caught a glimpse of that. I didn't realize people have been like blocking Beeple, and I don't get why.
Yeah, you don't get what you don't want to know why.
I kind of do.
All right, real quick, I'm gonna try this out. So let's say I put $1,500 or let's go $500 here into Pixie. I'm looking at my transaction. I have to pay $8.40. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna reject that because I'm already exposed and I'm good there. Let's go to 0.0012. Let's pay $10 for it. 0.005. Okay. Now I'm swapping. It's the same.
Yeah, there we go. So you're gonna pay your $30 on a $1,000 trade or on a $10 trade. Then sucks.
Wow.
Again, when I started and I did not have any money to play, and it was only like, let me throw $5 in here or there, like I could do on Robinhood or I could do on Coinbase. I was shocked to see it here. I'm like, who can actually play this? Who can actually trade? Like, this is not for me. And maybe that goes to Quantum Points here about the high gas. Makes it more for the big names.
You're excluding community members. Like, again, this is like part of the whole discussion of like, is ETH more for like higher quality collections and all this stuff? You're inherently excluding somebody that is just trying to spend like $100.
Yeah. It's yet another reason why the multi-chain future is not just inevitable, but it's needed. I saw a tweet I actually dropped in our private chat, Luca Nets. Somebody had tweeted about Little Pudgies being ahead of their time because they are actually omni-chain. And I wonder if people all realize that because it happened so long ago. Now you got Frank again talking about DeGods back to Solana. They've been on multiple chains. It's just, man, Frank is by accident. Luca, I think, was he on the team when Little Pudgies came out? No, that wasn't by design with him, right? But however that was set up, somebody definitely sees the future when they, kind of made them like this. Omni-chain is the future. And a big benefit of that is going to be the meme coins. Then you don't exclude your community. Then they can go trade meme coins on another chain still inside your ecosystem, though.
So I haven't even been on Layer Zero Labs. I didn't know Pudgies launched or are on Layer Zero.
That's it. Yeah, they sure are.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a year ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
And isn't that also where Pudgy World is going to be?
Yes, I know. ZKSync.
Okay.
ZKSync. So it looks like they're kind of. It feels like as a project, or at least you can see it with Pudgy Penguins. Is like they're kind of also trying to figure out, okay, where do we want to build all of these different things?
Yeah.
Right. Like what's going to hit, what's not. The Ape Chain definitely would be in a conversation for a lot of projects, I think, if they can get their shit together. Yeah, man, that whole Frank to God situation is going to be looked at in the history of this space, and just the fact that Utes have moved twice when it wasn't even a thing. There weren't many cross chain collections at the time. Huda, you haven't seen this Beeple piece? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, if it's his every day from yesterday, I saw it. If that's why people are blocking him, I don't get why, because it's nothing out of the ordinary for Beeple.
I think they're just. I think this is the straw, the proverbial. I'm not even going to say anything. The proverbial straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people was this one.
I think I know where you were going with that, but that's crazy, dude. I mean, I don't know. Either you like art and you get art, or you don't. And if you liked art for the sake of art, I mean, I would hope that's why you're following Beeple, and that's all he's doing is making art.
Who's in the picture? Like, who's the guy on the ground? Do we know?
I'm gonna peek here real quick.
You're
trying to not show it all the way.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll get banned from YouTube for this.
Are there certain words you can't say and like in things you can't show?
You know what? I don't want to test those boundaries. I know that there's some like prawn for sure. Like, I don't know if you can say a lot of that stuff.
Well, it looks like Pac-Man, but I know it's not. It just does.
Oh, you're right. It kind of does look like Pac-Man.
It can't be him.
It says "wag me." I mean, this is supposed to be a picture that's satirizing the cabal, right? The wag me cabal that everybody's talking about. I
can't think of who that is.
Yeah, I could do with less dicks from people. Like, I could do with a little bit less. Just flaccid,
just in general,
huge, small. Just do with less on my screen.
Yeah, I'm normally not a fan, but just because it gets a reaction from people, I say not enough dicks, man. Like, more people, please.
More. We want more of that. Okay, sounds good.
At least offset it with something else, like more boobs.
Yeah. See, if we can kind of have a balance here, but yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. Okay, so we're getting some calls in chat. I don't know what I can and can't say here. So I'm just going to leave that in chat. You guys can go check that out. Quantum schooling us. Gas doesn't scale. Transaction is a transaction. Schooling me. Squashman saying, if base NFTs take off, we think they're going to help revive the Coinbase NFT marketplace. I don't know what their plans are for Coinbase NFT marketplace. I am super interested in that funnel of users going from Coinbase and easily, even within Coinbase, transacting on Base and buying NFTs. So maybe you have a point there. I would much rather see like a Magic Eden collaboration here where you can like trade Base NFTs on Magic Eden.
Yeah, that would be great, right? Yeah. And with all these other new chains coming up too, Frame and I mean, whatever else. I know there's plenty more. But Blast, yeah, right? I mean, there has to be something that unifies them. The same way you have a wallet that's got all these different blockchains, built in. It's just going to get really, really complicated here. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. It's a little much, but it's a sign of us being early and growing. So good problem to have, maybe.
In 2018, even 2019, maybe even a little bit of 2020, there weren't. It's wild being in this space right now because there's still a ton of people. There's still a shit ton of stuff being built. In 2019 and 20, definitely 18, there weren't anybody. Like,
dude, you had
10,000 people maybe.
I mean, yeah, a new NFT would come out every few months, and when things started picking up in 2021, a new NFT every few days or every few weeks. It's so different. Now you have a new marketplace coming out every other day. It's completely different. New blockchains, new tech, new types of coins. It's a different space.
Man, it's gotten more treacherous, not less. There's more places to lose your time and potentially lose out on those gains of having some opportunistic play that you missed out on and instead went into something else. I guess you could have said that back in the NFT scene. Obviously, like if you chose Arabian Camels over Bored Ape Yacht Club, the opportunity cost of that is like literally to the moon. But now it just seems like there's more options.
Dude, Well, I have a call later with my gang, right? And it's to talk about alpha. I'm stealing what you were just saying there, how it's so important that you're engaged in looking at this stuff and learning and studying it and like sharing it with each other like a good alpha group should do, because it is harder than ever. Like if we were doing that back in the day, you have to do it times 10 now to be successful in this space. So, I mean, you saying those words just kind of stuck. And again, I'm stealing it.
Love it. All right.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
No worries, man. You give I think more than you take on this show, man. So I appreciate you being here and sharing everything that you've got. Real quick, this is a kind of just a funny one to throw out here, and we'll kind of leave here in like the next 5 to 10 minutes. Arkham reporting that Donald Trump is getting out. He sold $2.4 million of ETH. He also sold like a couple different things, but he's made a ton on these Trump royalties. One thing we didn't follow up on too, Huda, was the success or lack thereof on that Trump third collection. I know we were covering it when it dropped, but apparently it hasn't done well. And yeah, so Trump's selling his ETH and getting out. Wish we had Gifted here to talk about this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, okay, I think the collection isn't sold out still. But also keeping in mind, you can't sell them on secondary, so there's no, speculative play on them. You got to wait a year to sell these things. What I'm wondering is if there was 200 something like packages where you could get the piece of the suit. I wonder if those were all taken and claimed, because to me, that's the most interesting thing to measure, if there was demand for that.
Well, say that one more time.
So you had to buy 47 cards. If you buy 47 cards, it's kind of like the previous set. If you did that, then you got a gala ticket, a gala dinner invite. This time you get the gala dinner and you get the piece of his suit. So I want to see if those sold out, because that would tell me the demand is still there for him, just not for, an asset that you can't sell. There's no value to it for a year.
I remember going on to Crypto Slam and Trump NFTs were the top collection on Polygon for like forever. It was like DraftKings Trump NFTs. It was just
they sort of brought us to life. Was it last year? Like just a year ago, those came out for the first time.
Yeah,
that actually kicked us off and got our I guess our run started. It really did. We were dead until those Trump NFTs dropped.
Okay, love to see it. All right, a couple questions coming through, and Carrie is, I guess, feeling the same way here. Huda, she's saying, just FYI about all the chain mess, all these chains platforms, it drives me crazy as to where to mint anything at all or why to mint anything at all. Totally stops me. Jack Sideways saying, man, so much great info flying from you guys today. I almost can't get work done at the same time. We appreciate that.
Nice.
Thanks for that call out.
Yeah, thank you.
And Carrie's one last time saying about all these chains and wallets, it drives me crazy as to what to mint. It totally stops me. So I think your comment came through twice. There's no quick and easy answer to that. It is tough. And what I'll say to that is, like, if this was easy, one, the alfalfa wouldn't be there. Like, the alpha is found in trying to interact with things that people don't want to interact with yet, right? That, like, Bitcoin back in 2010, when it was worth like $1, was incredibly hard to work with as opposed to today. We saw the same thing with its inscriptions. When inscriptions are still kind of hard to fuck with comparative to like ETH or these different things. So there's really no answer. I think my advice would be to find something that you think you have to spend some time. Find a chain that feels to you like there's going to be some activity there in 6 months, in a year, and longer if that's your time frame, and just plant yourself there. And that's a little bit of what I'm doing on Base. I think that there's a narrative behind the chain. I'm planting myself there, and I know that there's 15 other chains to deal with, but I'm spending time there because I think that that's going to be a chain that's super successful in the future, and you can look at different signs to find it. That's what the Solana guys did, to be honest. That's what the Solana people that stayed were either they lucked into it and were just blind loyalty to this chain and were just stuck there because of their blind loyalty, and it worked out for them. Others were like, no, this chain still has great tech. There's still a community here. And when the time comes, people will find out about it.
Dude, most of our devs at Crypto Slam are hardcore Solana guys. They've been building over there. They're involved with a lot of projects. And the way they've talked about it for so long, it felt cultish, but it was like their belief in the chain was not just unwavering. It's like it was the way when I had my aha moment with NFTs and I knew they would be a thing and I would try to teach people and explain. And I had that conviction. It's not normal conviction. It was like, I am so sure about it. They spoke with that like sparkle in their eye, right? They felt it and believed in it. And I think most Solana people are like that. It's a really special chain, man. Carrie, a quick comment though about like it being so hard to know what to mint and why and all that stuff. And it is crazy. You have to find a good group of friends. You have to. You gotta learn these things. Like, and you may be doing this already too, right? You very well might be. But when I get in the mode where I just don't know what to mint, and I sometimes will mint blindly based off of what I hear people talking about, and I do that little bit of chasing, I always get wrecked. Always, unless it's just dumb luck and I win. But when I found a group of people and I know people are researching and then I put in the time to research, I've never made better plays than when that happened. So it's the way you kind of approach these things is so important. And I hope you have that already. And if not, you like look for it and look for it hard. You got to find that.
So much great information that you just dropped there. I want to say almost to a T that if you were dropping some terms there, Huda, like fanatical and cultish, and I think almost to a T, when I haven't listened to somebody that is so just fanatical about what they're talking about, that it hasn't worked out for me. And I will say, like, I'll give an example of EOS. Like, EOS is a great example of guys that have gotten stuck over there now, and it hasn't worked out for them. Right. So somebody that's from EOS could hop into this channel and be like, EOS. And no matter, I don't think it's going to do anything in the future. I might be wrong, but for the most part, that's an example of where it didn't work out. Right. Other examples, though, I think 90% of the time, I mean, it's Cat's Fanatic coming in here and talking about Valeria. It's my buddy telling me that I need to buy fucking Cyberkongs for the 18 billionth time. And you're just like, why are you being a psychopath about this? And if you're asking that question about someone bringing you info, there's alpha there.
Yes. There is, like, it's a thing you can't quantify, but there is a way those people speak about the stuff, right? And you hear it and it's different. I told Katz when he first started getting on about Valeria, I'm like, dude, I didn't get into it. It took me a long time, but I told him, like, Katz, I know for sure because of how you're talking about it that I'm going to regret not getting in. And it played out that way. It's exactly how it played out, but he spoke about it in that way that I knew for sure it was going to play out well. So
it's
got to learn what that sounds like. Maybe that's a skill.
It very much is. I think we'll wrap up with that. I will say I didn't have anybody. I don't think I had like one friend. No, I definitely had digits hitting me up in my Discord about grapes, about Mochaverse, and I just didn't. I don't know why. I cannot even begin to understand why. The only thing I can point to as to why I didn't get into Mocha and grapes is because of the macro of where the market was at the time.
Yes.
That's
same.
And so grapes is doing a bunch here. You can see they're getting added to, I guess the IP is getting added here into Steam. So they got a couple of their games coming to Steam. The grape token has launched and it seems to be doing well. I know the NFTs have pulled back since then, since they're kind of rocket, I think, to like 4 ETH or something.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Anyways, so update on grapes there. I don't really have much more, man. I had a couple from. No, I'm pretty much done. I think I'll end with this one. And Huda, if you've got anything for the folks out there before you drop off, definitely let me know. MapleStory is one that we've brought up on this channel before. MapleStory U is going to be their Web3 arm that is moving into the space. Check this out, Huda. This is MapleStory, just the traditional brand. This is the Las Vegas Sphere. This is not a joke. This is not CGI. They even posted about that. You can see MapleStory Universe 6. Not CGI. Huda, is this the first time a Web3 game has been on the Las Vegas Sphere? And MapleStory has now taken that flag and forever is the first Web3 brand to be on the Sphere.
I think so. Also, MapleStory, like I remember reading about them years ago. Are they like a big Web 2 like animation studio? Some kind of tie to Disney or something like that? Am I thinking about the right thing here?
I don't know the tie to Disney. I will say I played MapleStory a lot growing up. It's essentially like a RPG that's in the 2D version. I know it has a big Asian community when it comes to like who plays the game. But yeah, MapleStory is just a gaming studio or the main game of whatever studio put that out.
Yeah, that is wild. Yes. And yeah, I do think that's the first game to show up on the Sphere. I wonder if that's going to be like, oh, actually, I don't even wonder. This is going to play out just like in, let's say, 2021, when you got your NFT project in Times Square. Everyone's like, oh shit, we made it. Oh, can you believe we're on Times Square, right? Like, you know, on a billboard there. This is going to be the exact same thing. Cause I think those guys, man, that was an expensive freaking venue, right? They're going to be looking for money any way they can get it. So I think we're going to see a lot of NFTs advertised on that Sphere. So yes, the first, but I think first of many.
I agree wholeheartedly. I will say the alpha from this is that the MapleStory has enough funds and it can allocate it to something like being on the freaking Sphere. They're not just some startup indie project. So I'll make this one comparison. When I see MapleStory Universe, I see Sugartown, I see Zynga. And I think this is going to be a big one here. So I would keep a lookout if you're over there at home. And MapleStory's been around for 20 years. This is a large game, large IP, large Asian following. I'm definitely looking at MapleStory Universe. They're going to have a drop and everything.
So okay, they don't have an NFT yet, but they're going to.
Yes.
Ooh. All right, we got to find some whitelists.
So yeah, next space here is it looks like the studio that you're looking for here behind MapleStory. So okay, we got to hop off because we got to jump into MapleStory research here and all the different things that we have to get involved in. Huda, last show of the year here. I know that you're only a month or two in, man, but you've made your presence felt. It's been a wild ride here in 23. I know we've done the recap episodes already, so I don't feel like we have to do that. And it's felt like a good show.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one in particular. It's different. It's a different vibe when it's a smaller, I guess, cast. But man, I've loved this show from day one that you had me on it. And I really appreciate you having me on it. Like, I was not a content creator before, 5 months ago at this point. So I still feel very new to it. Crazy cool that you guys would accept me being that fresh and let me, kind of be a part of the thing. And the thing is special. I can feel that energy here. So thank you for that. I've had a blast doing it. And I think you guys are just top tier excellent at this stuff. So I see big, big things in your guys' future. So congrats to you on the successful year here too. It's been pretty damn incredible, sir.
I think 2024 is going to be kind to all of us, man. So let's keep this caravan rolling. Christian Jensen, Folk You.
You said it good that time.
I should not have said that in that combination. So Folk You, Christian Jensen, Kerry Ross, Buffalo, Quantum Variant, Inside NFTs, Marty McFly, Squash Man, Jack's Hideaway. If you're watching on X, if you're watching YouTube, either live or afterwards, we appreciate you guys so much. Prado, I see you as well. SP, you guys have been fantastic all the way through. We really could not be doing these episodes without you. Like if we were just up here and it was just me and Huda on a Zoom call or something like that, that's not what we're here for. We're here to kind of interact with the community and create this content. And you guys have been, fantastic all the way through. So can't wait for a good 2024 here. A great 2024. You guys stay safe on the New Year's holiday. We will be back on Tuesday, I believe. So January 2nd, we will be back. You guys will hopefully be there. Thank you so much. Our vibe, our tribe.